Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Ian with Out of This World Reader, and it's that time again where I just give you my spiel on all the books I got to in the month of February. When I sat down to plan this video, I thought I got to a bunch of books in the month of February, but turns out I only got to 6, and which I'm proud about because some of these are some chunky ones, and they took me quite a few days to get over. And then on top of school, I'm just overall happy with what I got to, and the books that I got to were just overall really pleasing to read, and I'm glad they came to me this month. I don't know if you guys want me to do stats, but if you do, let me know in the comments below and I'll start including that in these kind of wrap-ups for next month. But with this whopping number of books I need to get to, let's just jump right into the first one. The first of the month brought upon a outstanding book, and sadly an end to a duology that will forever stick with me, and that was, the book I got to was Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. And again, I'm going to be putting the books up there so they don't hit you on the camera. I went more in depth with kind of my series wrap up, but overall this one was, I think this one was my favorite out of the two. The way that it kind of played out, especially in the end of that first book, the odds were just not in their favor, as the Hunger Games would say, and somehow it just clicked and everything happened, and just there was a happy ending somehow. This duology is well praised and talked about a lot on BookTube and just other readers in general, so I gotta say that the hype is real for this. I was a bit anxious to get into it at the beginning because sometimes I'm just like the oddball and kind of doesn't connect with the book the same way, but after the first one it was just a thrill of a ride, and I immediately picked up this one at the start of the month, and it was sad to see it end, but overall outstanding. It will always kind of stick with me and be one of my all-time favorites. And this I gave 5 stars. For some reason, just randomly, I got into like a mystery kind of mood, and I decided I should pick up another great Agatha Christie book, and that was Death on the Nile, which received 3.5 stars. I had read some of her previous works in the past and I enjoyed those, so I was hoping that this one would do the same, so I kind of went in blind. I had no idea, just saw it at Target, and the cover looked pretty outstanding to me. It just stood out compared to the other ones, so I kind of picked it up. I think once I really got into it, it was really the setting that kept me reading on, just the Nile and Egypt, the pyramids, everything. It's always been one of my childhood dreams to kind of like sail a sailboat on the Nile, and in this kind of story we're following a cast of characters that are on a boat and a murder kind of happens. The way that Agatha Christie kind of writes these stories, especially like comparing them to like her other ones that I've read, The Murder on the Orient Express and Then There Were None, like she really just keeps you guessing, and at times you think you've got it figured out, and then just all of a sudden like she just throws a curveball and you're just left guessing again, and it just keeps happening throughout the story. It got 3.5 stars because I was really looking for more action, especially The Murder on the Orient Express and this one. There was really just, it's mostly mystery, so if you're into just strictly mystery and just solving a kind of the whole murder or event that kind of occurs, then I would recommend this to you because it doesn't go much in like with the fight scenes or kind of chase scenes. This one did have a lot more than kind of The Murder on the Orient Express, and it kind of spanned more than just one day. Whereas like on Murder on the Orient Express, I felt like it just kind of all happened within a day or two. But this kind of occurs, you get a little bit of past, and then you get the whole present, which kind of spans several days, and then you kind of get a little glimpse of the future as well. But I think I should start like actually reading these in order now, because I think this is like the 17th of the Hercule Poirot. I'm butchering that. Please let me know in the comments below how to correctly pronounce that. But I feel like I should now that I've kind of enjoyed these, I feel like I should actually kind of read in order now, because it definitely hints at past kind of mysteries that he solved. And if you didn't know, this is actually coming out with a movie adaptation sometime soon, and it's got some legit actors in it. It's got like Gal Gadot, Armie Hammer, the girl who played I think Shuri in Black Panther, I'm not sure. After reading this, I immediately checked out the trailer and definitely adding it to my watch list. It looks like it's going to be something special. Back in that video where I kind of discussed those series that I wanted to get to in 2021, one of the things I was kind of didn't know where to go to was with Rick Riordan, especially finishing the Heroes of Olympus series back in December. I didn't know where to go from here, and since I kind of already had this book on hand, I just decided that I would continue on with this one, with this series, and that is the Red Pyramid, which is the first book in the Kane Chronicles. This is Rick Riordan's kind of take on Egyptian mythology, and especially coming off like the death on the Nile, like I was in that Egyptian mythology kind of mood. This is following two perspectives, Sadie and Carter, who unfortunately lose their father in kind of an accident to kind of fix the past a little bit, and then from there they're kind of thrown on this quest to kind of redeem and maybe bring back their father, but from there things kind of unfold and new characters are kind of brought in, and the plot just unfolds from there, and they're just transported throughout the world. Like you're taken to several different stops, and that's what I love about books, is just when they transport you to just different locations around the world that I've always dreamed about going to. The series isn't really talked about much, and that kind of makes me sad, because this one I really enjoyed, like not as much as kind of the Percy Jackson, but it was still as good as his other books. And like I said, like Rick Riordan has yet to let me down. Rick Riordan just includes humor throughout the book, and it's like it's middle grade humor that just really makes you giggle at times. Like especially just there'll be like little blips of it, and somehow like it might not even seem funny, but you find yourself laughing to it. Something that I can compare it to, with especially the way that the magic works in this, is to Doctor Strange, which is one of my favorite Marvel kind of superheroes. That it's just similar, like especially if you've seen the movie. Like I imagined, like while reading this, kind of how they use their magic to kind of transport and summon spears and stuff like that. But I can say after finishing this one, I will definitely be continuing on with the series. And this I also gave 4.5 stars. Jumping into another series that I got to this month, that was the second book in the Hunger Games trilogy, which is Catching Fire. I don't know why, but for some reason I enjoyed this one so much more than the Hunger Games. I don't know if I kind of read that at the wrong time or something, but for some reason this one just clicked more to me. Especially watching like all the movies and knowing what's gonna happen. Like that kind of turned me off like a little bit in the first ones, because everything was I already knew what was gonna happen. But in this one, it's still like I knew what was gonna happen, but like it was still enjoying to just read about it. It's crazy to say how similarly these are to the movies. Like usually, like the books and the movies are so different, and the book is always better. But with these, like, I'm not sure. Like they're both of the movies and the books are so good. But it's just mind-blowing at how similar they are. Like that never happens. I liked how we were introduced to more characters and got to connect with them a little bit more. And this one, the arena is in the tropical kind of setting, and I do love the ocean, so that was pleasing to read about. But overall, I did enjoy this, and I think I ended up giving it 3.5 stars, which I can't remember what I gave the Hunger Games, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping to get to the third book, and then from there decide whether I should just continue on with that prequel or just cut the series there. But if you have any opinions in that, please let me know down below. In honor of Valentine's Day, I decided I needed to pick up a little romance, get some of those feels in my life, and I decided to pick up Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. I believe that this was on a lot of people's most anticipated releases for this year, so it was kind of weird for me to kind of be under the radar about it and then kind of see other people's reviews on it. To me, it just sounded like a funny, quick kind of read to kind of give me those little bit of romance feels for my heartbroken heart. This is following Grace Porter, who just recently completed her PhD in astronomy, and from there she goes on kind of like a girls' trip with her friends to Las Vegas, where she gets married to another woman just randomly, kind of drunkenly, and wakes up the next morning with a ring on her finger, and then it just goes from there. I can honestly say that this is really a heartwarming book, and there really wasn't that much romance, it seemed like. I was expecting there to be quite a bit more, but it seemed like there was only a couple scenes where it was really standing out. It felt like more of just like a character-driven story, just following Grace and uncovering her past and how it kind of drove her to accomplish this PhD and why she did it. And it was just like heartwarming to feel like those relationships that she had with her friends in Portland and then her new friends that you'll kind of meet throughout the story in New York. But they genuinely cared for each other, and it was crazy how they somewhat mirrored each other, like the friends on the different coasts. Like they were each kind of matched with each other, like each one had like a mirrored opposite on the other coast. And I thought that was interesting that she kind of played that out. I can say that like just following Grace's perspective really kind of helped me out in life, because she kind of faced like similar things in the fact that she's always got to follow like a routine and set schedule, and that's similar to me. Like it's always planned out, and I've always got to have everything together. So seeing how she can kind of like overcome this and just be more kind of like outgoing and just go with the flow really helped me out. Just reading how she kind of changed throughout the book just really helped me, and I've started to kind of get better in that. And I think when a book kind of does that for you, like it impacts your life that much, it really means something. Because when I first picked this up, like I had no idea that I was just kind of just expecting just like a romance kind of for Valentine's Day, but when it just like hits you right in the chest and kind of change your life a little bit, it really means something. It is definitely good that this book touches on some atrocious things that happen every day. The things that people of different color and races and ethnicities are just faced with, not the same opportunities as others. And it also touched on how women aren't given the same opportunities in the workforce, and that's just terrible to read about. Like we should all be treated equal, and I'm just glad that this book touched on that a little bit. I would definitely recommend this to you if you're just looking for like a quick kind of funny romance to just maybe get you through a couple tough days. But overall I gave this 4 stars, and I absolutely kind of wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. And the final book that I got to this month was the big old chunky one, the 800-page book, and that was The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, which is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy. After finishing Honey Girl, I was kind of lost at where to go. I really wanted a fantasy, but I didn't know kind of which way to go between this or Spinning Silver, because it was snowing, and I decided I wanted to go with this. And I was a bit scared of the kind of the length of the book, because like I said, it's 800 pages, and it took me quite a few days to finish it, but it was definitely a roller coaster of a ride, and it was a fun time. Once it really got going, it was hard to put down. Like I said, it was just like a roller coaster ride. It would take you up, and the plot would just keep building and building and building, and then it would just kind of steady out a little bit, and you think you're safe, and then just all of a sudden just a twist and turn, and then you're just dragged along with the plot, and it just unfolds in different locations, and you don't know what's coming, and that's what I loved about it. And quite like it still got through it pretty quickly somehow. I plan on going more in depth when I finish like the whole series and give you just a more in depth of my thoughts on the total series. But this one I think I enjoyed better than the first one so far. I haven't got to that third one yet, but I'm planning on picking it up soon. I liked how in this one we were kind of introduced to new characters, and it definitely felt like we got a little bit more of the world and learning more about the different aspects that are kind of affected throughout it. I had got into this because I wanted to make that transition into adult fantasy, and I think after reading this whole trilogy, I am no longer a novice, and I'm ready for like those thousand page books. So if you know any after to go with this, let me know. There's still a couple days left of February, and I thought I'd just kind of touch on the book that I'm currently reading. I'm not very far in it, actually. I haven't even started it yet, but it's sitting over there waiting. And I decided to pick up Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. Even though it's sunny out and the snow's all melted, it's supposed to start snowing again on Wednesday, so we'll see where that goes. Hopefully it arrives and it just brings me that great atmosphere that I'm hoping for. Those are all the books that I got to this month, the whole whopping 6 that I'm very proud of. Don't get me wrong, I'm proud of getting to 6. But if you have any thoughts on any of them, if you've read them, please let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know what your thought or what you got to this month and what your plans are for March. But I want to thank you so much for watching this. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss out on another adventure. And as Ellie always says, adventure is out there, so I'll catch you later.